Hello. Welcome back to Chit Chatting with Kate Carr.
Unfortunately, I won't be drinking a coffee today. I made my second one, and for whatever reason, it turned into this consistency. I've never seen this in my life. I want to throw up. The whole iced coffee is literally like a syrup for some reason. I think it's because I brewed it with cinnamon. I probably shouldn't have brewed it with cinnamon in the bottom first. I probably should have just did it while it was already brewed. But for whatever reason, it turned... I probably did too much cinnamon too, but literally I took a sip and it was all this syrupy consistency. So I'm in the middle of boiling a kettle of water and we're gonna have some tea, but I had to show you guys because I've never seen this before. I've never done this with a coffee, and it's already my second coffee of the day, so I'm not gonna brew another one, unfortunately. But I'm confused, and it was so gross. The texture of it, the consistency, not a fan, which is such a shame because it doesn't look like a bad coffee, and I was excited to drink it. You know, it's coffee. We're chit-chatting with Kate Carr, and we do the coffee over here, but we're gonna do tea today. Okay, that's ramble done.
Be sure to grab your favorite beverage. Be sure to grab a cute cup, whatever one just makes you feel cute and cozy, and whatever beverage floats your boat. Today we're going to be chit-chatting another Reddit thread. If you are new here, hi, hello. I appreciate you stumbling upon my channel. If you're a returning viewer, again, hi, hello. I appreciate you coming back to my channel and watching another one of my Reddit videos, and while I'm dabbling and learning on the content that I want to continue creating. So if you enjoy the content that I'm creating, please let me know by liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, so that way you tell me that you're enjoying the content that I'm creating, that I enjoy creating, so I can continue creating the content that I enjoy creating, that you enjoy consuming, that YouTube enjoys promoting. Because when you like, comment, share, subscribe, interact in any way, that just lets YouTube know that you're liking what I'm doing. So if that's the case, be sure to let YouTube know. And I, again, appreciate you so much for watching this new video. So let's get into this week's Reddit thread. And I now have my tea. I'm drinking a mixture of Moroccan mint and chamomile from Trader Joe's. So clearly it's still steeping and it looks a little clear, but it's nice and warm. So I'm gonna hold it for the comfort. I'm gonna grab this blanket, get comfy, get cozy, as you should too, while we go and chit chat about the Reddit thread, Neighbors from Hell. First story from r/neighbors from hell is just straight up weird neighbor. So I, 23 female, just moved to a new city and new apartment by myself. I have met all of my neighbors and they seem nice. However, my upstairs neighbor, male 60s, is freaking me out. So whenever I'm in my apartment, he follows me around. I know I sound crazy, but listen. When I move to the kitchen to do something, I can hear him also move to his kitchen. Same with my bedroom, and the weirdest part is when I go to shower, he also goes to shower. I can hear him turn on his water. Whenever I get up in the night to go pee, he also suddenly gets active and goes to the bathroom or walks around his room. I know it's his room because we have similar layouts. I feel like I'm going crazy. I told my friends and they think it's weird. I don't know. Has this ever happened to anyone, or am I going crazy? I only started to notice it recently since moving in 3 months ago. So the comments are a mixture of understanding and saying that OP's paranoid, which to an extent, why wouldn't she be paranoid? She's 23, a female, and has moved to a new city by herself. So there's a little reason for paranoia. There is something where it's like, oh, how does she know and hear all the noises? But also, like, just imagine an apartment building. So I don't think it's a hard thought to think that it's a little weird, of course. And it seems like other people have gone through it too, so clearly, like, OP's not the standalone for this. But do I have to say it's weird? Yeah, of course. The fact that OP can kind of, like, catch on to these patterns and stuff. And of course, like I said, you live in an apartment, so you can, like, hear those things with the pipes and stuff like that. So it's not coincidental, I don't think, most of the time. But of course, there's room for coincidence. But also at the same time, you can't be overly cautious as a female living by yourself. So just be a little cautious. Don't do anything if you feel uncomfortable, but, like, also don't, like, make this the center of your life and drive yourself a little crazy too, because you also have to live your life too at the same time. Again, be cautious, but also live your life. So, do I say weird? Yeah. Neighbor from hell? Not quite. Or maybe not quite yet, but, you know, we'll leave it at that because that's all we have. So, that's the first story. Just flat out weird neighbor. Do you have a weird neighbor like this? Has this ever happened to you? Because, like I said, in the comments, they're saying they've had this happen before too, and someone even said, like, have people over and, like, do a couple things at the same time and see what happens. But I feel like that's a little extreme. Like, you're not gonna be able to hear those noises with people over. But that's besides the point. Story number 2. Is it me? I have a neighbor who lives above me, and his clothespins keep falling into my small patio. At first, I used to return them, and he would even apologize. But when he saw that this kept happening, I told him that it bothered me that I have to pick up his clothespins all the time. At that point, he said he was going to keep hanging his clothes and stop replying to my messages. I now have a bag full of his clothespins, and I'm thinking of throwing them at his door. I don't want to do it, but the neighbor seems to not care about anything anymore. Is it me, or is he the problem here? This one's short and sweet, but obviously, like, he is the problem. Like, the fact that he's, like, not replying to your messages. Again, we're just gonna go with the grain of salt that we have with the Reddit story that OP gave us. But the comments are giving a lot of more, like, better feedback. So instead of throwing the pins at him, or at his door or anything, we're not going to throw the clothespins because we got danger there. But I can see how it would be annoying, especially if you voiced it and you're like, hey, like, literally stop. Like, I'm the one picking all this up. And also, like, what if I come out and I want to have a nice glass of tea or a mug of coffee and I step on your freaking clothespins because you don't care and you're ignoring me? That's annoying. I can see where it's annoying, but, like, also maybe, like, I don't know, leave a post-it note if anything. But the comments are saying, like, if you have a bag of them, like, donate to them to, like, a local thrift store or like a daycare or something. Like, use them for like arts and crafts or somewhere that they can be used, but don't give them back to them or him, because if you throw it at him, he's going to be able to use them. So, like, the punishment for him is just he's going to have to keep buying new clothespins. But you know what, maybe this is going to be an everlasting cycle and you're just going to have to keep picking up the clothespins. So I guess come back in a couple months. This was posted 22 days ago, so let's see what happens next if we ever get an update from this. But it's something that is very annoying. I could see where it would be very, very annoying. But how is she going to get it to stop? I don't know. I don't know. This next story was posted only a week ago. Titled, "We Have a Nightmare Neighbor, ... My partner and I bought our house, semi-detached, almost 7 months ago. When we first moved in, we met our neighbor next door, and she seemed like a lovely woman looking after her bed-bound husband. From time to time, we would hear her shouting at her husband through the night. However, everything seemed fine until my partner was testing out his quad at 4 p.m. on our drive. Our neighbor came over screaming that we are not allowed to run the quad at all, and if we continued, she will call the police. She also mentioned that we cannot run our log burner because it's affecting her. Our log burner fits within the requirements of our town in the UK. So we installed cameras the next day in case she came back, and she did. We were out of the house on Sunday when we got a notification from our Ring doorbell. She was standing outside of our door accusing us of causing trouble and endangering the neighbors. The police came and told us to report anything else, and if she comes to our door again, we now know that she has a mental condition. Last night we heard banging and screaming. I reported it to the 101 service line and they came this morning. She wouldn't let them in, so they tried the door. It was awful to see. I feel guilty in case I've overstepped, but I just wanted to make sure herself and her husband are getting the correct help. It's awful hearing the noises and screams through the night, especially when you cannot see what's going on. Have I done the right thing? I definitely think that OP did the right thing. Yeah, now that it's known that she has a mental condition and there's screaming and there's disruptions and she's supposed to be a caretaker for her bed-bound husband. So obviously, again, we're going to take with a grain of whatever the story gives us, but I feel like there's definitely more information that we need there. But I feel like OP feels guilty because of the fact that they probably put her in something or evaluated her or something along the lines of that. But I definitely think that OP did it out of a good intention, especially because it's interrupting their day-to-day lives, ruining their sleep, like interrupting their sleep and all that type of stuff. So I definitely don't think that they overstepped necessarily. I think that if they didn't do this sooner rather than later, then things probably would have kept spiraling and stuff like that, especially since they've lived there for less than a year. And she snapped over something like so simple on like a very reasonable time of the day. So I don't think that OP, you don't have to feel guilty about what you did. It's hard, like easier said than done, like feeling like bad and stuff like that. Like you said, like it's horrible to watch and stuff, but you know, maybe come back in a couple weeks and update this and see how how your neighbor is and stuff like that, because I feel like I said, kind of like better sooner than later. It sucks that you had to do that. Of course, like it's not easy, but also I feel like it's definitely the right thing. Okay, I know we're well past Halloween, but this one still stuck out to me, especially because it was 11 days ago, so it's very recent, so just hear me out, okay. It kind of has a Halloween vibe, I guess, simply just because I read the title, but you'll see what I mean, okay? Neighbors put a dummy with a scary mask in their back window that faces my backyard. Has anybody dealt with a neighbor like this? It's really unsettling. It's half a month since Halloween and our backyards face each other. Mine is fenced, theirs is unfenced, but their house is higher so they can see into my yard. It's directly facing my yard, not a street. I let my dog out and it's just constantly leering at me. They also move it occasionally. Sometimes it sits on the couch, other times it's pressed against the window. I am a responsible dog owner, so I have to stand at my back door and let my dog in when he goes outside so he doesn't bark and have to stare at it. It just irritates me. I have frosted film for my storm door, so at least that helps. The neighbors to their left were staring at me letting my dog out so many times. I had no choice but to buy it. They don't have any animals, they just love to stare at me letting my dog out. It'll be like 4 a.m. and they will stand at their back door and stare at me. Really sucks. My boyfriend got irritated with it last night too because he was taking out the dog and he said he wants to go over there and confront them about the dummy, but I told him not to. OP, I don't know about this one. So I do see where it's creepy, but it's your neighbor's window at the end of the day. I get how it's like, cause it's like tricky because it's like, all right, well, you're clearly looking in their house, but also, like, you can probably see it staring straight into your yard. But also, like, you can probably do a little bit more with, like, your own privacy on your end so you don't see it. And also, you can kind of just also control yourself and not look over there. Like, it's your neighbor's house. I'm sorry. They're going to do what they want to do at the end of the day. And if that's them putting a creepy doll and moving it around, honestly, it kind of seems like they see that you're irritated and they're like moving it on you and they're like kind of like taunting you with you a little bit. This is me just of course making up my own scenario of this, but I don't know if this is just like a Reddit vent or whatever the case is. I know you told your boyfriend not to go over there and like confront them, which I don't think you should do that either at all. But it seems like, I don't know, maybe if you're making any type of like big deal out loud and like in person, then they're going to like kind of continue it because it is their house and they can kind of have whatever they want in there. Is it weird? Of course, that is kind of very creepy. I do remember, like, I remember this one truck in like a neighborhood that I would walk from like my bus stop. I guess it was maybe to keep intruders out. I actually have no idea now that I think about it. Maybe to scare little kids too. But they did the same thing. They literally had a dummy in like the passenger seat and like would like switch it around and like decorate it and stuff, and it did look terrifying, especially as a child. But also, like, I see where it would be annoying and like kind of creepy if like you just feel like that thing's watching you at all times and then your other neighbor's watching you. But also, like, are you the gossip of those neighbors? Maybe they're just like chatting and the other neighbors are like, hey, like, I know that they're really pissed off about this, so I'm going to continue it. So then the non-animal neighbors are just kind of like feeding into it, you know? So I don't know about this one, OP. It is strange, I will say, but maybe just stop looking at their yard. You just let your dog out and come right back in and just leave it at that. And that is it for chatting about r/ neighbors from hell. Do you have a neighbor from hell story? Let me know in the comments below and let's chat about it. Have an audience chat about it. The whole point of this channel is to grow this gal pal community so we can chit chat and yap and gabber in the comments and build this community and like share each other's thoughts, you know, with fun, love, peace, ease, all of the above. So make sure to comment below. I want to have a conversation. Let me know what you thought of this video's stories. If you like neighbors from hell stories, if you have your own, let me know. I would love to again interact, read, all of the above. I appreciate you so much for watching. Again, if you're a new viewer or returning viewer, either way, thank you so much again for watching this new video of Chit Chatting with Kate Carr. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!